is caving once again. Wow. Twice in a week. Never thought I would see the day. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here and happen to really like this video and you like the stuff that I do, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell notification. We upload videos on a near daily basis and you will want to be notified of when those videos go up, our live streams, our premieres, our interviews, everything like that. So anyway, this is an article that I am so glad to be reading you. This is something I really want to have because one of the things that I said during AB5 is like AB5 would force Uber to do a lot of things. And I was always wondering, I never doubted that they would find a way to stay in California, but I really did wonder, would they actually concede the things they would need to concede to keep their drivers independent contractors instead of employees? Because a lot of people were afraid that, hey, they were just going to become employees and Uber's going to tell them what to do, what they couldn't do. Guys, Uber was not interested at all in you being employees. That's why they're fighting this. And once the laws came to effect, I knew they would probably at least attempt to follow the law. Well, we started to see some of those attempts made. They started, letting you know where the drive was going to be, how much you would make. It started letting you all these things that, they took away the upfront pricing, which was, in my opinion, illegal and predatory. But there was one thing they hadn't done yet, one thing that remained, and that was they had to let the drivers set their own rates. Otherwise, they're not independent contractors. They're employees. I mean, they say, oh, but we let them do all this. Yeah, you're still setting the price. You're still setting the price. They're still employees. And it looks like Uber, at the very least, will be testing out letting some drivers set their own fares. Hallelujah. Let's look at this article. So, Uber is testing a new feature that will give some drivers in California a chance to earn more money. The experiment comes after the state's gig worker bill went into effect earlier this month. Drivers in Santa Barbara, Palm Springs, and Sacramento, hey, Erica, you got it over there. You got it over there. Who pick up passengers from an airport can set their own fares instead of using the Uber estimated fare, the Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday. This is part of a test by the ride-hailing company to give drivers more control of their rates, which can increase up to 5 times the standard fare. Quote, since AB5 has gone into effect, we've made a number of product changes to preserve flexible work for tens of thousands of California drivers, Uber said in an email statement Tuesday. We're now doing an initial test of additional changes which would give drivers more control over the rates they charge drivers. Yes, and by the way, they should be doing this. They absolutely should be doing this because here's the thing. As much as I believe that regulation is necessary, I was always saying, hey, I'd be okay if like Uber kind of went back to the old days. We have never had the opportunity to set our own rates. This is going to be very interesting to see what happens at this point. Will everyone just go crazy and start charging ridiculous amounts? Or will some people stick with the Uber recommended fare because it will get them more rides and thus, in their minds, more money? Which doesn't really work that way. What happens if you start setting your own rate? Does that change the effects of how people rate you? How are the passengers made aware that the rate is going to be more expensive than what a typical Uber rate is? It's going to be interesting to find out what this means. However, I believe now, and I'm not a lawyer, I could be wrong. Of course, I could be wrong. And I have been wrong before. But I believe this might be the first step. I mean, actually, not even the first step. This might be the final step of Uber effectively sidestepping AB5. I believe, okay, you can see where you're going. You can see how much you're making. You can accept or decline your rides however many times you want. You can obviously get on off whenever you want. Uber doesn't just do ride share. They also do food delivery, and they're in automation, kind of, and they're getting into financing with their little credit line. Now you can actually charge your own rates. Also, false deactivations have become a much lesser thing. Still exist, but not as big, not as prominent now. So I think Uber will actually completely avoid the wrath of AB5. I think they have done everything they can and need to do, really, to not have to follow this right now. And what's going to be really interesting is if this ends up being successful. Because if this is successful in California, then really there's no reason not to do it in other states. Of course, Uber won't do it in other states. We talked about this on the podcast yesterday, where the only reason this is happening is because of AB5. And if you want something like this to happen in your state, because people leave comments in my videos like, well, this is an improvement, this is just California. It's like, yeah, well, California fought their butts off to get this passed. They did the protests, they went to the government. I was there at several of these events. I filmed it, I did things live. And they really fought for this. They wanted this to happen. Some people didn't. And you know what? They fought for it too. Everyone, can take solace and pride knowing that they did what they felt they had to do to get the result they wanted. And even if they didn't get it, you know what? They showed up, and this was one of the rare cases where drivers actually were taking control of their destiny with Uber. And look, so far the results have been great. No one's an employee yet. And Uber's doing these things that they should have been doing since day one. And in some cases, they were doing on day one. They just took them away. So here's the thing. It is pointing out, of course, again, though, that Uber is suing the state of California, arguing that AB5 is unconstitutional. And I believe that they will have enough support to get it on the ballots to get AB5 overturned. In the meantime, they can't just jump out of California. Heck, they're located in California. That would be embarrassing for a publicly traded company to not be operating in the very state that they reside in. So look, they're going to test it out. And what does this test out mean? Well, here's what the test out means. First of all, there is probably some element of testing where it's like, okay, we're going to do it in these 3 cities, kind of see if we can get away with not following AB5 just by those 3 cities and see kind of how it works out. Now, if it still works out for them, but it's not enough, they'll spread it out and they'll say, hey, it's a great idea, so we've decided to expand it. Look at how nice we are. That's what the story's going to be. And then AB5, or getting AB5 overturned, I should say, will be put on the ballot. I have no doubt it will get overturned at that point because Uber just has to say one thing. Unless you overturn AB5, you will be paying more money. For that matter, people who use Uber for the last couple of years will probably notice their Uber rides are getting more expensive, and they'll vote against that come election time. Watch, it will happen. People are extremely cheap unless it comes to gas, because for some reason in the last election, we voted to keep a gas tax that was put on unlawfully, in my opinion, and add more taxes to the gas. I don't know why, but we said that was okay. California, not so smart sometimes. But hey, we'll see what happens when it comes to this. And if they actually decide to overturn AB5 because they don't want to spend more money on their Ubers, guess what? Uber will take it away, and they'll take all these features away, all of them. They'll be gone. And they will say something along the lines of, well, we tried it, and after months of feedback and research, we have decided that, hey, you know what? It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. People don't like it. They're not making us a bunch of money. It's not sufficient as it used to be. That's how it's going to be. It's kind of sad that that's the state that we're in, because it's clearly BS. But hey, for the time being, the positives. In at least California, well, if you sit in California, if you're in Santa Barbara, Palm Springs, or Sacramento, you can now set your own rates. And by the way, if anyone is in those cities driving, after doing this for a couple weeks, if you want to come on this show and you want to talk about if this is working and whether or not you're making more money now or less money, I would love to do that interview. So my email is in the description below. You can contact me. I would so love to set that up in the near future. In the meantime, for everyone else, what do you think about this news? Do you think this is good news? Do you think this is bad news? Do you like it? Do you not? I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.